Hey, it's Jonathan Davis, and we're going to be talking Outer Banks spoilers for episode 4. So if you haven't seen it yet, click off. You've been warned.
Hello, Sarah. Come on, Sarah. Where did you go? Or should I say, Mrs. Rutledge?
I personally got emotional. I just kind of ran with it, thinking about how this is probably someone that she's known since she was younger, because Ward and Big John were friends. So I'm sure like she's known him for a long time, and then, you know, knowing that her dad had something to do with his murder, his supposed murder, and, you know, thinking that he wasn't around because of her dad, that made me emotional, and I felt like it was accurate, so I kind of just ran with it. I mean, seeing someone is alive, like literally come back from the dead, and it was also kind of the start of me being able, or getting to act alongside Charlie, who plays Big John, for the first time. And I was excited about that because I'd never really gotten to work with him, and that's always really fun. And he's so incredible, and he's so talented, and that was just a really cool storyline that we got to explore this season. I was excited. I mean, even more daddy issues to explore in this season.
Oh, so I have to call you back.
Hey, Mom. I'm really sorry. Oh my God. Are you okay? Bye.
I loved portraying that moment because for Kiara, I mean, she knows that she didn't leave on good terms, and I think she's unsure of what she's coming back to. Like, are they gonna let me inside? How are they going to react? And I was very happy that moment was just them embracing her with open arms and just prioritizing that their daughter is safe. And I love Sam, who plays my mom, who plays Anna, and we had a great moment to connect that day. And our director, Darnell, definitely knew that was a very special moment. And it was a beautiful day, lots of tears.
I feel like it was real because, you know, I love Roger and I love Tanya, and like, you know, over these like couple years, like working with them, they've really, you know, he's kind of been a mentor and a stepfather to me. You know, I still text him all the time. So, you know, that was kind of one of the first scenes we filmed together, and like, it was real. It was good to see him again. It was good to, like, you know, when you're in Hayward Seafood and you're back in those locations, it does feel like, wow, we're like really back and we're really doing this again. So, you know, it was emotional seeing Roger and like getting to have that father-son dynamic that we've kind of worked on for 3 years, and him and Tanya kill it every time. So I was really, really, really happy to be able to have that moment. Like, you know, it's really cathartic. You know, Pope misses his family so much. It's been like months since he's seen them, and he's been through so much. All he can do is like fall into his dad's arms because, you know, it feels familiar.
She got stranded on the island with us. She saved my life, and we can help her now. Please.
I think the first question I had to ask is, how do you get like a girl to stay in your parents' house? Like, that's not an easy feat. And, you know, we kind of talked about it, and I think the thing was more so like, you know, she needs that community with her, and I think they really sympathized with her situation, and, you know, she definitely knew she could help them and like help out Hayward Seafood. Definitely needs the help, you know, especially like since Pope is trying to go back to school, and she's nowhere else to go. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, she's got to be here. And Pope is a very respectful young man, so they knew, like, you know, bring her in and give her a place to stay. They're loving parents. What are they gonna do? Turn her away?
It was so sweet. I mean, it's one of those things where I was really emotional for Cleo because it's like, you know, to never have your own room. You know, I feel like growing up, my own room was like my little my paradise, my little like sanctuary, and to like not have that, I was like, wow, to get that. I thought it was so sweet to have, you know, him give him something that means so much to him, and to like, you know, he gave her a towel, and he also gave her a home. He gave her like parents and stuff like that. So I thought it was so sweet.
Yeah, he's pissed off. I think it's shown in the first episode of he doesn't want to leave Pokelandia because I feel like we're all equal there. But once they get back to the Outer Banks, things aren't equal. And I think the eviction notice is just a cherry on top of a reminder that nothing's here for him, and he's pissed off about that. And that sparks, I think, a lot of frustration in JJ, seeing that eviction notice and not having anyone there to come home to. So I think it's a frustration moment.
See his dad pull the trigger and do those things. I don't know how any human being can process it. And it just starts the unraveling process of the dynamic between the two.
I was just writing that scene, and I had no plans for Big John to become a killer. And I was like, how is he going to sort this out? And I was like, well, he could kill him. And then it just kind of happened. And then it just opened up all this other stuff. And I sent it to Shannon, and Shannon was like, this could be useful.
That's Shannon speak for that doesn't totally suck.
That was a left turn that just happened in the process, and then we just embraced it.
No, right away I was like, oh my God, like look at that. Like in your mind starts going in a cascade. Like if that happens and this happens, like you'll find things. But that was of season 3. That was probably the biggest left turn that had good effects. You're like, oh my God, like that's so good. Like you get so much juice from it.
I think you often, the guys often look to paint us into the hardest possible corner. And just because it makes it more interesting.
We actually, in something that's quite interesting about Outer Banks, is sometimes we'll shoot it a couple different ways just to see what works in the cutting room. And so there's one take somewhere in the editing bay on the floor where it's the full Viola Davis snot take where I'm crying my eyes out watching it. And then I think the reaction that we went with was more truthful in the sense of there's no way to process it. There's seeing that happen and going through that, there is no processing skills. And then he's asking me to help him dump the bodies, and he's asking me to now essentially be, an accomplice to murder. And how does a father ask a child to do that? And it was tough. It's tough because a lot of times, it feels real. We're shooting on location. We're on boats tied up in the middle of the ocean. So the reality and the truth of these moments in the story, when you read them on the page and then you get there on the day, it just feels so real at times. So I think that reaction and the way that it pans out and the scene following that is pretty close to what I would assume would happen in a situation like that. And I just kind of let it rip, honestly. I was like, whatever happens, happens, and whatever I'm feeling, I'm just going to let my heart and my gut kind of take me in those scenes.
How bad weird. What are we doing? What are we doing? We shouldn't be doing this. Nah. No, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't.
Say so.
I mean, like, it would all blow up anyway. Like, look at you. You got your new threads on. Look at me, what do I got? This piece of...
It was kind of like in Jaws, where they're like, don't show the shark. We were like, don't show the kiss, and kept pulling it out and pulling it out.
I mean, it was filmed, it was in the script, and I think filmed in 304 that they kissed, and then we pulled it back at the last minute.
We always knew that they would have a big fight scene.
When I read it, I just was like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because I think with JJ's this is not going to cure JJ's problems. JJ's problems isn't coming from, so much of the Pogues. It's coming from everywhere else, and I think Kiara's trying to fix that in that moment, and JJ's like, no, this is not going to fix anything. Like, I have problems that I have to grow up to and face. And it's just like, I can't fix those right now. He doesn't know how to. So that's super frustrating.
It's so easy for you to say that. You know why? Because you're a kook. You're a kook, Kiara.
Yeah, I'm a kook.
That the worst thing he could say to her would be to call her a kook. It also dovetails into JJ psychology that we're trying to, develop even more moving forward, is how he can sabotage things because he doesn't feel like he deserves happiness on some level.
It was tricky of how I would portray that. I think Kiara is not insensitive to what's going on. I think she understands the weight of it, but I think she's also trying to maybe take him out of that a little bit. And, you know, let's not focus on what you don't have, but I'm standing here right in front of you and I care about you and I love you and I'm letting you know, like, you're never going to be, like, as unsafe and as alone as you feel.
My family is giving away something of mine, a historical artifact.
What you think I give a shit about that for?
This thing is worth a lot of money, okay? A lot. I can't stop them, okay? At least not without looking like I'm going back on something. So, I want you to steal it.
It's really, I think it's his way of working through some type of like ownership over his life. I don't think he's ever had that. He's never had something that's his or something that he's gotten on his own. You know, obviously he comes from a very, you know, it's very affluent, you know, environment. So anything that any accomplishments he makes or, you know, any progress he's made has always been, the reasoning for that is always because, oh, it's your family legacy. It's been given to you. So he breaks off from that as a means of independence. I think the first time in his life, you know, he's on his own and free, and he's in uncharted waters in that. Very confused, doesn't know what to do. But you see it for the first time. You see him actually come to terms with the fact of like, okay, I'm going to take ownership over my own life. And I don't have to listen to what my parental figure or my higher-ups have to say to me. You know, it comes at a point where he's lost all control, and I think that's his last resort to gain, you know, any semblance of control in his life.